Welcome, everybody, to Somewhere in Vegas here on our home, Spreaker.com. I'm Mark the Q. I'm your host. The next couple of weeks, we're going to be doing some really interesting interviews, some throwback interviews with some of the guests we've had on the show over our past 13 years of doing this show. A lot of the archives have been lost when the transfer happened, but we did save quite a few number of years and some really great guests that you may have heard of. We're going to start off very, very, very in the beginning in 2007 with two of my first celebrity interviews. Our very first show with a guest actually was Penn Gillette. We talked a lot about Las Vegas, old school Las Vegas, and his tenure at the Rio, which they are still, as far as I know, still doing their magic show out of the Rio. So it's been quite a while. 13 years is a long time to be out there, and they're one of the longest performers to the hold there. So we'll be talking to Penn Gillette a little bit about that. And then we'll also be talking to Kenny G, one of the legendary musicians and saxophone players. Again, this was from 13 years ago. We talked to him a little bit about his world record and some of his experiences outside of the stage. And we talked a lot about him, being here in Vegas performing at that point. And so you guys, please enjoy these two interviews. We'll start off with Penn Gillette, and then we'll get into a quick break. And then after that, you'll be able to listen to Kenny G. So without further ado, here's our interview with Penn Gillette back from October 2007. First of all, 5 years.
5 years, long time. Of course, we played the Rio longer than 5 years. It's 5 years full-time here at the Penn and Teller Theater. Before that, we played a few years coming in for, several months a year while still touring. But 5 years.
And what's it like being here at the Rio and having audiences every night?
We played Broadway, 2 different runs for a long time. And Broadway is supposed to be, the top, the best you can do. We have more freedom and more fun and better audiences here than on Broadway. We just love it. I can't say enough good. Tell and I've been doing magic over 30 years, and the past 5 here at the Rio has been the best.
And has your audience been challenging you over the past couple of years to improve your tricks?
I don't know if that's the way I'd like to put it. They're challenging us to improve our tricks, but we have so much freedom here. We do new stuff all the time. We've probably done 3.5 to 4 hours of unique material here in Vegas. Most shows in Vegas, they just come here, they sit down, they do the same show. But Tell and I are changing it all the time. And
do you have any favorites? Any favorite tricks that you've done?
I don't know. The bullet catch that we close the show with, where we have, guns examined by the audience and bullets signed and then fired into our faces, I think is probably the best trick we do. It's kind of like the hit. We couldn't really do a show without putting it in there. But after that, I'm really proud that we do stuff that isn't straight down the middle. And we first started playing Vegas way back in '92. There was a sense that Vegas was the lowest common denominator, that you did a George Burns impersonation and then left. And I'm pretty proud that we don't do that at all. We do stuff that's the same stuff we would have done off Broadway in New York. We don't dumb it down at all for Vegas, and I guess that's what I'm happiest about.
And how did you and Teller get started in magic?
Well, Teller has been doing magic since he was 5 years old and got a Howdy Doody magic set through the mail, and I started doing. I started out really hating magic. And I met Teller and realized that magic could be more than just a greasy guy in a tux with a lot of birds torturing women in front of Mylar to bad rip-off Motown music. It could be something else. And so I really started seriously with magic when I met Teller, which was when I was 18.
And do you ever think it was going to make it this far?
No. Teller and I are that rare people in show business, and that we think we've been more successful than we deserve to be. Most everyone else is a little bit bitter. We expected to have 200 or 300 people a night that would like us, and it turns out we were off by an order of magnitude. It's actually a couple thousand. So we're very, very happy that it worked out that way.
And you guys do a really interesting style of magic versus everybody else, like the Copperfields and the Blaines. Can you kind of explain your kind of style of magic?
Well, most other people doing magic try to deny the irony. They try to say, let's come on a magic journey with me and make believe. If you're going to make believe, you might as well be watching special effects in a movie. We like to confront the skepticism and enjoy the irony. In other words, what we're doing on stage, you know isn't possible. You know that intellectually, but your heart thinks it's real, and those two colliding, I think, is fascinating. Many other magicians think that magic is about fantasy, and I think magic is about reality.
And recently, today, Joey Bishop died. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, what a drag, Joey Bishop. I mean, the Rat Pack was when Vegas really was something. I mean, from 1963 to 68, Vegas was really, really happening. It was the center of the world. And then it fell off into, bad impersonators for all those years. And I sure hope we get it back. But man, to be in Vegas with Joey Bishop and the rest of the Rat Pack and, and all that stuff, Louis Prima playing at the lounges and atomic bomb explosions to watch in the backyard, that must have been the time to really be in Vegas. Hope we get back to it being that cool. I mean, minus the atomic bomb explosions.
And did you have any idols growing up?
My idols growing up are not interesting to magic. I think that, Bob Dylan, Lou Reed, Sun Ra, Tiny Tim, nobody in magic really. If you want to get into magic, it's Amazing Randy, James Randi, who is known as the Ghostbuster, skeptic, was probably the biggest influence on my life. And then a bunch of close-up guys that I really, really love. A lot of guys whose names you wouldn't recognize. Mike Close, who's here in Vegas, Jamie and Swiss, people like that. But the real mainstream magicians who were on TV, I'm afraid, didn't have much effect on me. Not compared to Bob Dylan.
And do you hope to be here in Vegas a lot longer, another 5 years?
At least another 5 years. I would like to, entertainers, a lot of them don't know when to quit. There's a time they should retire, and yet they keep going beyond that. I want to be one of those. I want to keep going way beyond I'm good and die here on stage with the Rio.
Okay, anything else you want to add?
No.
Okay, good. Thank you. Well, how long have you been a pilot?
About 20 years.
And how old is this plane?
This is a 53.
So
I didn't buy it in 53 because I wasn't born in 53. But it's these planes. They basically find a piece of an airplane, like they found part of that, and then they just rebuild a whole airplane. That airplane is pretty much brand new from 12 years ago.
Okay. What got you into flying?
I don't know. It's one of those things. I don't know what got me into saxophone playing. It's one of those things. I just something I liked, and I saw. Whenever you went to an airport and you watched people land, I always thought, God, it would be really fun to fly. And I just one day just took a flying lesson, and that's how it all started.
And how's it like landing today?
Well, it's windy. You can feel the wind, so that's always makes it a little tougher. Pilots that are listening to this will understand what if the wind's constant, it's easy. You just go in. But when the wind's gusting, sometimes it blows hard, sometimes it doesn't. You're coming in. But luckily, this is a long lake. I mean, that's 3 miles long. So I got a 3-mile runway. So as I was coming in, I had to adjust my power settings a bunch of times to compensate for the wind. But it's very easy, to tell you the truth.
And I guess I think you're releasing a new album, aren't you?
On Valentine's Day, I am.
Yeah.
I'm very excited about it because it's an all Latin record, and mostly originals, but a couple of cover songs, and it's something that I've always wanted to do, and I just think that I don't know. I just like the way that we did the Latin music. We did it in a way that's rhythmical, it's romantic at the same time. So I think people are going to enjoy that record.
And what's it called?
Rhythm and Romance.
Rhythm and Romance. It's been about 10 years since you broke the world record for holding the longest note.
Yes.
Nobody's broken that record. Do you think you're ever going to try to break that record again?
It's funny that you asked me that. It's almost like somebody must have prepped you for this question. But truth is, when the record comes out on Valentine's Day, either that day or the day before, I'm going to go to New York and I'm going to go into a Starbucks because my record's going to be released at Starbucks this year. I'm going to go into one, I don't know, whichever Starbucks they want me to, and I'm going to do it right there, and I'm going to try to go an hour. My record's 45 minutes and 47 seconds, but I'm going to train myself, and I'm going to really, really, I'm telling you, I'm going to do it. I'm going to break my own record.
And what kind of training goes into breaking your record?
Well, you don't want the specifics because it would kind of gross. But basically, you got to build up a bunch of your muscles around here, and it's like running a marathon. You don't just go run a marathon. You have to build up, like run 5 miles, 10 miles, and so I'll just be holding notes in my practice sessions for, I might hold a note for 10 minutes the first day, 12 minutes, 20 minutes. Then maybe I'll try to go with like 30 or 40 minutes and then let my mouth rest for a couple of days and then go for it.
And any certain note that you're going to hit this time around, or are you going to stick with your flat?
So I'm going to hit the same note because if that's the easiest note to do this on.
Okay.
Thank you for knowing that. That's really cool. You are very informed. It was an E flat that I held.
Yep.
Very cool.
I looked it up before I came here.
Thank you.
But
That's
anyway,
cool.
yeah. Kids, are your kids involved in music?
My kids, yeah. Yeah, my son, one son plays guitar and one plays piano.
And are they looking to fill their daddy's footsteps and become famous musicians?
You know, they see what I do, and it sure looks like a fun life. But I always warn them that it's not. You know, you can't just do this because you want to do it. You have to do it because you get good enough to do it. So it requires a lot of practice. I mean, you know, to a kid, practicing an hour a day seems like a major amount of time. But you know, overall the years. I mean, I'm probably average 4 hours a day for 20, 30 years of playing. So it's a big commitment. And I just let them know that that's what it is. And if they want to go for it, I'll be happy to open doors for them. But I can't. Once they're in, I can't keep them in. That's up to them and their talent. I can get them an audition. I just can't get them a gig.
And you've performed with a lot of celebrities and a lot of musicians. Is there anybody that you haven't worked with that you'd really like to work with?
Well, it's too late for Luther, but that would have been my choice. I would have loved to work with Luther. I was going to say Andrea Bocelli, but I played. He did a gig in Italy, and then in the summer I actually played with him in Italy. It was pretty darn cool. So that was really cool. I've never played with Celine. Never played with her. I played on one of her records, but we've never performed live together. I would like to do that. She's awesome to me. She's got the best female voice of anybody, in my opinion. So I think that'd be cool. I'd like to do it with her. And anyway, and she likes golf too. So maybe we could play a round of golf, play some music together, and talk French, even though I don't speak French.
Yeah. Speaking of golf, you're an avid golfer as well.
I'm not bad.
Not bad.
I like golf. Yeah. Avid means that you like it. Doesn't mean that you're necessarily that good. I'm pretty good though.
Anybody particularly you want to play golf with, a round of golf with?
You know, I've already kind of done that. I played with Tiger. I played with Jack Nicklaus. I played with Arnold Palmer. I played with Johnny Miller. So I mean, I played with guys that doesn't mean that I'm bored. And I mean, I have not played with Greg Norman. I'd like to meet Greg Norman, but I've not played with him. But I've kind of done my fantasy foursome in a way, you know.
And you've only golfed a couple times here in Vegas, right?
Correct. I don't have much time, you know.
Yeah. You like more time to do golf, or?
No. I like my music.
You like your music?
Yeah. I like golf though. Golf's fun.
Okay. Anything else you want to add?
It's your show, bro.
Actually,
anything else you want to add?
One more question. How'd you get into the saxophone?
It's I was a kid, 10 years old, just watching TV. I saw somebody play it, and I was kind of intrigued by it. So I got a saxophone and just really liked it right off the bat. It was one of those things. I still like it. You know, I still practice. Every time I practice, I always really enjoy myself. But I'm lucky that I like what I do, and that I get paid decent for what I do. And again, it's pretty cool. I must say. There's a lot of commitment, though. You know, I put a lot of my life into playing the saxophone. But I've enjoyed it, so I'm pretty fortunate.
You ever expect it to go this far?
Well, never. No, I never really thought about it like that. It was more like I just wanted to become good. I mean, I like the instrument, so how do you get good? So I practiced to get good, and in the process of getting good, I started to get gigs and got success in that way. But the main thing is just trying to get good. I'm still trying to get good. I mean, I think I'm pretty good, but I think I can be better, and I practice every day. So I think I'm better than I was, last year. I think I'm better than I was last month. I hope. I'm trying. Okay. So I keep trying to do that.
Okay, good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Make sure you guys check us out on our social media. The Twitter is @SWIV, and somewhere in Vegas on Facebook. You guys can also check us out on Instagram @SWIV Podcast. That's @SWIV Podcast. And you can see some of the photos we have there. I may have to take a little trip down the strip and show you what's going on down there, because things are still shut down, but it seems like everybody's kind of active, watching what's going on downtown. So I'll have to maybe do a quick Instagram post to show you guys kind of the thing lit up. With that in mind, everybody, make sure you guys check us out. We'll be back to live shows coming up in the next coming weeks. And we'll continue, like I said, with these archived shows. We'll have, a good couple dozen of these shows coming up, so I can transfer some of the more highlighted interviews we've had in the past with you guys, with some of the celebrities that you may not have caught. on our old place. So definitely check it out, and we'll talk to you guys next week here on Somewhere in Vegas.